Did you know that beetroots are one of Kenya's fastest growing crops with demand soaring, especially in urban markets? Now, the high nutritional value of beetroots has tended to force an increase in demand, definitely pushing prices so high above 100 shillings per kilo. And of course, this is at the market price. Now, the good thing is that only a few farmers manage to do beetroot farming. Now, this sustains the market supply low and holding the definite price up. Now, the majority of beetroot consumed in Kenya normally comes from Nakuru or Nyeri, Kirinyaga, and big part of it from Kiambu County. Now, in today's video, we want to give you a simple step-by-step guide to growing beetroots profitably and doing it from seeds to harvesting. And this is majorly tailored for you, farmer, to make sure that you earn money from this beetroot farming. So, if you are a farmer trying to diversify and boost income, try now beetroot farming. But make sure before you invest in it, find and establish your own market where you will manage to sell the end harvest. The big question is, why should you manage to grow beetroots, or why should you grow beetroots? There are several reasons. One being good market price, the other one being early maturity and low cost, and definitely the easy management involved. And these are the main reasons that attract most farmers into the beetroot farming. Now, depending on the market supply, farm gate prices tend to range from 60 shillings to 70 shillings per kilo. And definitely, under good management, you can manage to harvest these beetroots in 55 to 75 days. Yes, they just take 55 to 70 days to mature. Harvesting often happens when the roots are about 5 centimeters in diameter. That's a rough size of the golf size, the golf ball size. And young beets, which are green, can be harvested for salads when they are 2 to 5 centimeters high, and older greens before they reach 15 centimeters long. The next topic is the ideal conditions for beetroot farming. Beetroot tends to thrive under an optimal temperature range of 10 to 24 degrees Celsius and can be grown year-round with sufficient water for irrigation. They do well in loamy or slightly sandy soil with a pH of 6 to 7, and the soil must be well drained to prevent root rot. With that, let's select the best beetroot varieties. There are several beetroot varieties in the market, but we shall look at a few. Starting with number one, the cylindra beets. These ones tend to have smooth, deep, or purple red skin and dark crimson interior with a sweet, earthy, and tender flavor. Under good management, it can manage to yield between 5 and 8 tons per acre. Another famous beetroot variety is bolt hardy beets. These ones tend to produce medium-sized, group-shaped, deep red or crimson roots with smooth skin and ringless flesh. It is sweet, tender, and slightly earthy with an edible young leaves. It matures within 50 to 60 days with a yield potential of 6 to 7 tons under good management. Third one is Georgia pink beet. This one is a global shaped root with a pinkish red or reddish exterior and a distinctive interior of concentric pink and white rings. The edible tops are green with red veins, growing 10 to 12 inches tall. It is sweet, mild, and less heavy than the other beets, with tender, smooth flesh. The leaves are also edible with a mild flavor. It tends to reach harvest within 55 to 65 days, similarly to Boltardi, and also kind of slightly faster than the Siandra. The other one is Balpis golden beet. This is a global shaped root, approximately 2 to 3 times inches in diameter, with bright golden yellow skin and deep yellow flesh. The tops are green, edible, and can be used like spinach, and tends to grow 10 to 12 inches tall. They have sweet, mild, and less earthy flavor that red beets with tender flesh that doesn't breed like red varieties, making them ideal for fresh and lightly cooked dishes. It's always good to choose the variety based on the market demand that you establish as you start, the soil type, and also the disease resistance. How do you plant beetroot? Now, to aid with germination, it's always good to soak the seeds for 24 hours to improve germination. Normally, I prefer direct sowing when planting beetroots, though one can place them first in the seed beds and then transplant them later. Direct sowing for me tends to offer best yields. Make the soil as loose as possible, then this will allow the beet expansion. Drill shallow furrows on a spacing of between 10 to 15 centimeters apart. Sow the seeds 2 centimeters deep and water. An acre can normally hold between 30 and 40,000 plants. After germination, do the thinning, leaving only the strong crops and give room for the beet expansion. How do you prepare your soil for beetroot farming and also fertilization? The first thing is to do the soil testing. It's always good to carry out soil test analysis to check the pH and nutrient levels. After the result, adjust based on the recommendation. Also, it's good you add organic manure, which plays a vital role in the yield results. Incorporate well-decomposed manure at least 2 tons per acre. After that, you can top dress with DAP fertilizer on the 14th day after sowing, followed by NPK 17 30 days after sowing. Avoid applying high nitrogen fertilizers in the second month, as this can slow the beet formation. After you've planted, there is another key thing you need to consider: watering and irrigation, given that now the rain is not that much sustainable and cannot be relied on. Beetroots, like most tubers, need consistent moisture, and especially during germination and beet development. Drip irrigation is the best system, of course, as it prevents now the spread of fungal diseases associated with overhead irrigation. Now, though watering intervals may vary with weather, whether it's hot or cold, water at least daily until sprouting occurs, and then you do it 2 to 3 times weekly to avoid now what we call dumping off. After planting, of course, like other crops, there are pests and diseases that are involved. Aphids and leaf miners are the common pests in beetroot farming. Apply insecticides such as emerald and thunder at the rate of 10 ml per 20 liters of water, combined with a sticker such as Integra or Aquaweight to control them. Sarcospora leaf spot and root rot are also common diseases in beetroot farming. Now, and to prevent them, you can apply score or infinite of fungicides early. Also, it's good to practice crop rotation and proper drainage to make sure that you've prevented root rot. But for those farmers who tend to love doing organic solution, you can use the neem to spray and try to control some of these pests and diseases. Also, you can try to do the companion planting with onions, which tend to repel some of these pests. After all this, the next thing is now the harvesting. Harvesting tends to happen 60 to 80 days after planting, when the roots are 5 to 7 centimeters in diameter. You tend to gently pull the roots by hand and use a fork to avoid most of the time the damage. Okay. After that, now you can clean your beetroots and take them to the market or use as you may desire. Now, at this section, this is where we tend to answer your frequently asked questions that you've asked on us. And also, if at this point you've not managed to subscribe, like, or share, please do hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you can manage to get as much updates as we release them. Remember, this is the only way we usually request you to help us reach as many farmers as possible. Also, make sure that you've shared this in your farmers group to boost your growth. Now, I have 5 frequently asked questions that you guys tend to ask. And number 1 is, how long does they take to grow the beetroot? And like we've said, it takes 60 to 80 days from planting to harvest, depending on the variety and management. The second question is, can beetroots grow in hot areas? Yes, in lowlands with temperatures of up to 24 degrees Celsius and adequate water for irrigation, they can manage to thrive. However, in lowlands, you find there are other threats such as birds, which may feast on the leaves, So you also have to look at these the factors that may influence negatively on the yield. Now, the third one is what causes low beetroot roots. Of course, it's poor soil, poor fertilization, inadequate spacing, insufficient water. All these will lead to poor yields of beetroot. Number four, are beetroot profitable in Kenya? Yes. Due to high demand in urban markets and low input cost, definitely you tend to find beetroots having good profits. And remember, we said there are not big number of farmers who do it. So this one tends to give more returns to farmers, but you also have to establish your own market. And the fifth one, which fertilizers are best? I said I love using organic manure. Of course, you have to replace with the DAP and a balanced NPK 1717. With this, it's now up to you to start your beetroot farming today. Share your progress and also don't forget to ask your questions on the comment section. Thank you, and let me see you next on the best fertilizer that you can apply on cabbages to boost you grow bigger ones. Thank you and see you next.